It is well enough that people of our nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Henry Ford. In today's crypto potluck, we are feasting on a buffet of information regarding the banking industry, Federal Reserve, the gold standard, cryptocurrency, and how blockchain technology is threatening the corrupt economic and political systems we live in today.
To preserve our independence, we must not let our rulers load us with perpetual debt. We must make our choice between economy and liberty or profusion and servitude.
Jefferson knew the impact corrupt banking industry would cause and warned us firsthand the threat a debt ceiling would have on us. When addressing Congress, he stated,
I place economy among the first and most important of Republican virtues, and public debt is the greatest of the dangers to be feared. It is incumbent on every generation to pay its own debts as it goes.
Fast forward to the early 20th century, and after 2 failed attempts, a group of bankers wanted to put a central bank in the United States of America. It was December of 1910, and Senator Nelson Aldrich boarded a private train car in New York with 6 others. The 6 were not to be spotted by any news reporters to avoid questions. The meeting went for 9 days, and from that, they created the Federal Reserve System. If they succeeded, it will give a small group of men the ability to create money from nothing and loan it to the American government with interest.
I was as secretive, indeed as furtive as any conspirator. Discovery we knew simply must not happen, or else all our time and effort would be wasted. If it were to be exposed that our particular group had got together and written a banking bill, that bill would have no chance whatever of passage by Congress.
The date, December 23rd, 1913, one of the darkest days in America's history. This group of billionaires were able to disguise and pass the enactment of the Federal Reserve Act. This allowed this group of billionaires the ability to print money and use debt to its advantage, bringing into law everything Thomas Jefferson warned would lead to the destruction of the American dream.
The Fed now has the exclusive power to print America's money. They loan this money to our banks and our government at interest, putting immediate debt on our own money, printing more and more, so each dollar they print becomes worth less than the one before.
This corrupt economic system works in the form of bonds. As you have the Treasury issuing bonds, these bonds are sold to the bankers who turn around and sell it to the Federal Reserve, who prints money to pay for these bonds. In this system, you have money being printed out of thin air by the Federal Reserve, and the huge bankers end up ahead acting as the middleman for the debt they pass on to the American people. Let's recap.
When the government issues a bond, it steals prosperity out of the future so that it can spend it today. The Treasury then holds a bond auction, and the world's largest banks show up and compete to buy part of our national debt and make a profit on it by earning interest.
These bankers then loan out the money they just printed out of thin air to the American people for interest. They know we can't pay back. In the process of falling back on our loans, they acquire our assets, our cars, our houses, which has led to every economic collapse that has been seen around the world. Basically,
That's the only way banks make money, by making debt loans. Debt equals money pile. The more loans they make, the more money they make.
Wall Street is fraud, America is fraud, the world is fraud, banks are fraud, central banks are fraud. We live in an era of fraud. It's all based on fraud, and they get a percentage of the fraud. That's the business model.
one Great Depression and 47 recessions later in the US alone, we have people protesting the 1%, the banking industry, with no comprehension of how it all works in the first place, or how to fix it. Until now.
It's November the 2nd, 2008, just 6 weeks after the Lehman Brothers collapse, and all over the world there are panicked debates about how to save the banks. Then, on a little visited web forum for cryptographers, a document appears in which a completely new monetary system is proposed. The visionary author calls himself Satoshi Nakamoto.
This proposal is the implementation of a new monetary system called Bitcoin.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital currency.
At a basic level, Bitcoin is just a ledger with account numbers and balances. When Bob sends Carol 5 Bitcoins, his balance goes down by 5 and Carol's up by 5. There's no gold or government-issued money backing these numbers, just people's belief that the numbers are worth something, and a system that prevents unfair changes.
Bitcoins are transferred directly from person to person via the net, without going through a bank or clearinghouse. This means that the fees are much lower. You can use them in every country. Your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits.
This is revolutionary in the sense that it puts the currency in the sole hands of the community, where it is regulated without the bureaucracy of the elites or banking industry, solving the issue of having the Federal Reserve inflate and deflate currency as they have in the past.
His proposal was that instead of a bank or credit card company recording every transaction in one central ledger, all of the users would record all of the transactions at the same time. As a result, any attempt to fool the community would be noticed and the payment rejected. No one user, government, or bank can force a fee on a payment or control its flow.
You might have seen news articles stating Bitcoin has hit $1,000, $3,000, or even $5,000, and these volatile leaps are happening in months, leaving you to believe you've missed your chance to grab a slice of the cryptocurrency pie. But as we've been covering throughout this video, the corruption of the banking industry needs to be stopped, and the only solution taking form today is a decentralized currency. To put this in perspective, let's look at the comparative market caps of today. Bitcoin's market cap is sitting at around $61 billion. The global market cap of circulating government-backed currency is at around $75 trillion. There is still so much room to go, and if Bitcoin's able to get 10%, 20% of the circulating government-backed currency market, you're looking at huge returns. Even more important than these returns, there is an economic collapse incoming, and as each year passes, our national debt increases at an unprecedented level. Despite political affiliation, one can't help but see firsthand the diverse nature of politics today. Both sides inherently know something is wrong with how politics is being ran, and although we may not agree with the exact solution, cryptocurrency might be a solution for when our debt finally towers over our liberty to the point it all collapses. When this collapse happens, you're going to see a unstableness seen in countries like Venezuela and Greece, where your currency is worth basically nothing. Having holds in cryptocurrency might be the only way to make it through these dark times. Now, there are many other cryptocurrencies out there other than Bitcoin, and they all have their own niche in addressing economic problems. These are just a few. We're also left with startups outside of cryptocurrency who aim to use blockchain to handle some of our biggest issues. These include launching blockchain platforms like Ethereum, crypto credit/debit cards like 10x, smart contracts like Neo, payroll and business transactions like Omisigo, quantum computer technology like Quantum, and many more using blockchain technology to revolutionize voting, security, government, and yes, even topple the banking industry with cryptocurrency. What are you waiting for?
This is America!
Thank you for making it to the end of this video. Subscribe if you found anything informative, and comment below your thoughts on the economic system we live in today. One way to support the channel is by going to Steemit, almost like a blockchain Reddit platform, and liking and commenting on this post. Lastly, this crypto potluck couldn't have been enjoyed without key contributors. I linked all their information in the description below, and I recommend checking out their YouTube channels for more information on the subject. Thank you, and have a good day.